All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for another edition of our last edition of our Thursday night mock drafts. And as you can see, a little bit of an extra special guest hanging out there. Crazy Gaby. I don't know who that guy is, but looks like he's going to be drafting with us here today, come hell or high water, better or worse. So I'm sure this guy is going to do absolutely awful.
Well, full disclosure, he's actually wearing that same monocle in the picture.
I am wearing the monocle and the top hat, honest to God, as I sit here right now. So it's going to be an interesting draft. I might have to shake things up with the second overall pick, and I think you know who it might be. I think anybody who knows me knows who it might be.
Yep.
So any guesses on what you think there? Or?
I'm going to guess Demaryius Thomas, because I know you have the ultimate man crush.
I wouldn't do something like that. I promise all of you. No, I'm not that crazy. I'm crazy Gaby, but I'm not that crazy. So it might be a little bit of a shock, not that big of a shock. I'm almost sad that I didn't get the fourth overall pick, because then I could probably justify taking him, get another elite wide receiver on the comeback around towards the end of the second round. But, you can't have what you want. You can't have your cake and eat it too, as people for some reason say. It doesn't make much sense to me. But, it is what it is. So, who do you think is going to go first overall, Jamal Charles or LaShawn McCoy? That's the age, well, really not the age-old question, more like the 3-month-old question. But those are the two guys that are on the top of everybody's board, and everybody has a specific. I'm not even going to try to say that word anymore. Everybody is specific about which one they like over the other. So
I feel like we see a lot more Charles than McCoy, so I'm going to guess it's Charles.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right.
Well, maybe you're going to go with Peyton Manning number 2 then. I know what a fan you are of that.
Yeah, you know Peyton Manning number 2 overall, definitely a play that you could see me doing. All right, got a fine motley assortment of characters here this evening, so let's go ahead and run them down one by one here. We've got about a minute and 15 seconds until this here doohickey launches. First on the list, Mr. Dean Shavelson, and as you see, the guns are out on full display. Somebody has an open carry permit, because let me tell you what, you can't walk around small children without intimidating a few people when you look like that. So, Dean, former co-host with me in a previous life, in another time, in another place, a really good guy, solid dude over at Roto-Grinders, provides excellent kick-ass content, and thank God I don't have to be on the air with him here tonight and listen to that damn annoying dog. He knows what I'm talking about. Nobody else probably does. He knows what I'm talking about. Next up, we have the ever-surprised Ryan Hodge from ProjectRoto.com. At least that's how he looks in his profile picture there, his avatar picture. Definitely looks like somebody caught him off guard. Don't want to see what's going on below that photograph, all things considered. But a great guy, one of the coolest Twitter personalities that you will find out there, and definitely somebody that you can always go to for advice and always willing to lend a helping hand. I've never seen him turn down a question on Twitter. In fact, quite the opposite. He will take them in large amounts and always dishes out good advice.
Yeah, and more diplomatic about it than hardly anyone you'll find, because gets stupid questions, as a lot of people do, but he always answers them.
So there it is. Jamal Charles went off the board first overall, and my pick, it's all up to me, right? Has to be LaShawn McCoy, right? Nah. I'm going to go ahead and take Matt Forte second overall.
PPR monster.
PPR monster, so consistent. Doesn't have Darren Sproles contending with him in the backfield for those passes out of the back. Now, I know the argument is Sproles and Pierre Thomas coexisted just fine last season, and I'm okay with that. I don't think that it's necessarily a terrible thing for Sean McCoy's value. Maybe it even boosts him a little bit. And, man, we've got our second surprise of the draft. Josh Shepardson going with Jimmy Graham at fourth overall. Nick, Fantasy Trade 411, probably sitting there wondering what the hell is going on right now. Adrian Peterson? I get him fifth?
Yeah,
wow.
What a steal.
What a steal, yeah, absolutely. He's a consensus top 3-4 pick on most people's boards. So also going to be extremely interesting that it's also going to be extremely interesting to see exactly where Demaryius Thomas goes. Remember, I have him rated number 4 overall on my board. Adrian Peterson is actually my 5th overall ranked running back.
I'm guessing that he comes off next. Yep. There he is.
Yep, there he goes.
That seems about right. Pretty standard with what we've been seeing recently.
All right. So Teddy Bridgewater pick 2 calling it, says BChad50. For those of you, I guess this doesn't matter. If you can't hear the broadcast, you won't know of me telling you to refresh the page. So I'm just going to type that in and let people know they should be able to hear it as soon as they refresh their page. And Project Roto, I apologize. Maybe you should have traded. Maybe you should have changed your draft day name here. FT41. I apologize. The rebranded like a phoenix from the ashes. Fantasy Trade 4-1 has died and reborn itself into Project Roto. Of course, that's ProjectRoto.com. I was gonna get to it, dude. All right. I was gonna get to it when I got to your whole spiel about talking about how you do this and that and how you're awesome. I talked about Project Roto with Ryan too. Cut me a little slack, all right? People are wondering what FT411 stands for. Is it Fair Trade Coffee 411? Is it Fun Time 411? Like that's the kind of message you'd scribble on a bathroom wall at a bar? Like I don't know. What does the FT411 stand for? Nobody knows apparently. So, all right, let's talk a little bit more about our experts here before we get too deep into this draft and I start going deep in the tank on some of these picks. All right, so we've got Michael Pecan from Fantasy Alarm, another really cool dude that I used to host shows with over at Roto Grinders. Of course, he's with Fantasy Alarm now, but very knowledgeable, always has a smile on his face, and has an unnatural love for Rick Porcello and Matt Stafford, and really just all things northern Michigan, Detroit area type stuff. So I don't fault him for that, though. I actually find it quite endearing, and I think you will, too, if you give him a follow on Twitter. Next up, we've got Matt Riddle, one of the, I'm just going to go ahead and say possibly the Michael Jordan of Twittering. Nobody is more active. Whether productive or not, yet to be determined. But active, yes, the most active by far. I promise it's like a television show with no commercials. All you have to do is sit and watch this guy's Twitter timeline. In fact, just make a TweetDeck column just for him. Call it the Friddle column. And you will be good to go for at least a night or two.
Yeah, it's always something exciting there.
Next up, we've got Eric Wardenberg, the man who needs no introduction in the daily fantasy community is going to get one anyways because kind of have to do it for everybody. He goes by Napster Man. I'm sure you've heard that name before because he has won a lot of money playing daily fantasy sports. He's got the mind of a panda, some have said, or at least I'm sure he wished he did. You can ask him about that. It's a bit of an inside joke. And definitely somebody that you can always count on for a snarky remark, especially if it's dong-related, on Twitter. So, really cool dude there. Brandon Niles at 4for4.com is next up. Really cool thing about him is he hosts he's the co-host, rather, of the Two Guys podcast. So, a really good podcast right there if you're looking for fantasy football information each week. And he is always active on 4for4.com's Discuss Your Team board for draft and team questions. And let me just say, I have subscribed to 4for4.com for 2 years now, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. The information and the sheer amount of just expertise that exists on that site for such a low cost is unrivaled, in my opinion, around the industry. So I absolutely recommend you check out 4for4.com. I'm on the clock right now, so I guess I'll talk about myself. Crazy Gaby, this guy right here. Let's see. Taking a look at who's left on the board. 20 seconds. Tick-tock, Clarice. Man, PPR format, I'm going Giovanni Bernard here.
I can't blame you for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to let him fall into I feel like he's the one running back here who shouldn't be falling into the third round. I'm doing it. As much as I like those receivers, if let's say if Jordy Nelson would have fallen to me, I have Jordy Nelson ranked high enough that I would have taken him over Giovanni Bernard there. I just can't do it though. Bernard too high on my board, expecting too much from him in a PPR format. Had to go with him right there.
Yeah, I mean, and that duo right there, Forte and Bernard, is going to be pretty damn solid as far as running backs go because few guys are going to be targeted more out of the backfield than those two.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely nuts. And now we're at Nick Ride a Canoe. No affiliation with Fantasy Trade 411. In fact, I know him only as Project Roto, and you should get to know him too. Another really cool dude. Those Project Roto guys, really cool on Twitter. Answer lots of questions, very active, very cool. And I'm not trying to toot his horn or anything, but this guy's contributed to the New York Times before, Justin. Yeah. Not too shabby. Nothing to shake a stick at, right?
Not at all.
Why are you shaking a stick anyway, you idiot? That's just silly. All right, so I've got 30 seconds here. I'm on the clock. I really need to grab a wide receiver here, and I'm frankly surprised that Alshon Jeffrey's still on the board. I have him rated considerably higher than the next two options, Randall Cobb and Keenan Allen. So I'm going to be all in on Alshon Jeffrey here. He's coming off right now.
Gotta love Alshon Jeffrey. Yeah. One of the best young talents, maybe the best young wide receiver with any experience now that Josh Gordon's out.
And I'll tell you the one thing that does worry me a little bit. I have placed a lot of stock in bad quarterbacks with my first two picks. Jay Cutler, who hopefully, as a product of Mark Trestman and the plethora of weapons around him, the improved offensive line, can put up QB1 type numbers for the entire season and manage to avoid injury. And then also Andy Dalton. Definitely not expecting the same sort of production from him last year. I think that affects A.J. Green a little more than Giovanni Bernard, though. So I feel a little more comfortable in that.
Yeah, I mean, he has no excuse but to put up numbers this year, so it remains to be seen if he can be consistent. But week in and week out is the only thing you worry about. Over the course of the season, he'll get you some numbers.
All right. Let's take a look at the rest of our experts. Let's round this out here. And Josh Shepardson, our very own here from FantasySportsLive.com, MLB and NFL expert extraordinaire, starting off very precarious in his draft with two tight ends off the board. Right there, he says, I am dominating this position over my opponents each and every week, and I'll likely have one of them filling in my flex box score.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the top two guys right there, and those guys put up wide receiver numbers. So just one hell of a duo right there for sure.
And we also have one buddy who filled in for us. Really appreciate it. John Beckler. You see him at the top there. Managed to pick first, grab the first overall pick. J.D. Beckler is the username. And I am wondering right now, everybody else has their avatar picture. I wonder if he actually looks like the Kool-Aid Man. Is this an accurate representation of John Beckler? I'll have to go ahead and creep his Facebook page or something after the draft.
Maybe it's a life goal. Maybe he aspires to look like him.
Oh, yeah! That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's how you do it right there. So, all right. Taking a look here at the draft board, and after all those introductions, I got to take a look and see who has came off the board, and I'm going to give out some first three-round grades. Of course, I rate my board the highest. How could I not? I'm definitely crushing this draft after the first three rounds. J.D. Beckler, John Beckler, not bad. Taking Drew Brees at the end of the second is by no means a stretch whatsoever. Drew Brees is certainly one of the top quarterbacks on the board, and a lot of folks actually believe that Drew Brees set to have a better season even than Peyton Manning, considering the offensive weapons that are around him, the fact that Peyton Manning just lost Wes Welker potentially for a while. If he comes back, how long will that last? And Eric Decker out of town as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Drew Brees just puts up numbers no matter who he's throwing the ball to. 5,000 yards, it seems, every year. So
yep.
He might be the safest quarterback option in my mind.
Roto Hobo stealing Antonio Brown at the end of the second round. That is a PPR stud. A lot of people don't think he can repeat the touchdowns. I'm not so sure about that. There's just not a lot of targets. If Marcus Wheaton doesn't develop and Heath Miller continues to decline, I am not confident at all there's anybody that's really going to eat into his touchdown receptions. So
yeah. I mean, he's the clear-cut number one, and in one of the few spots, like you mentioned, where there's no one that's going to be taking anything away from him.
FT411, which I've now realized is a code word for ProjectRoto.com. Actually, it's an anagram or something of that. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's something around there. He's got Adrian Peterson, DeMarco Murray, Doug Martin doing the old triple running back dance. I'm guessing this isn't something he had in mind coming into the draft. It was most likely more a product of I'm just going to take the best player on my board. And look, Doug Martin trending upward right now. DeMarco Murray, obviously a first-round pick in a lot of people's opinions. To grab him in the middle of the second round, sort of a steal. And Adrian Peterson being there fifth overall, you always have to be happy about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Doug Martin, one of those guys who 2 years ago was one of the elite backs and had a little down season and was hurt yet last year. But definitely I like his bounce-back potential, as everyone seems to.
Brandon Niles from 4for4 snagged Calvin Johnson first and then went the way of Peyton Manning. A definite high-risk, high-reward pick there in the second round of Peyton Manning. And Alfred Morris, a serviceable running back in the third round. He can be your workhorse. He can put up good fantasy numbers. Not going to play a lot on third down. Not going to catch a lot of passes. But once you start getting into the third round, there are reasons to like and dislike every running back, which is why it's so important to just gobble up your number one running back in one of the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, and also if RG3 struggles to regain his form early in the season, Morris is going to get a really heavy workload.
Yeah, definitely. You have to think that if he struggles early, that's the way it's going to go. And if some people, you hear the rumors swirling around of Kirk Cousins getting a start, you have to figure if that were the case too, they would even rely more heavily on Alfred Morris. I'm not thinking it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. And if it did,
yeah, it's possible.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
We all love speculation.
Fritto with Demaryius Thomas, Julio Jones. Oh, lordy, do I love that combo 1-2 in the first 2 rounds. So powerful, so massive. Definitely still talking about football here. Not a euphemism.
Yeah, those 2 guys, I mean, they have potential to just be the 2 highest scorers easily anytime. And Julio Jones, quite possibly the best deep ball threat in the game if he's healthy.
All right, and here I am on the clock, Justin. I find myself with 25 seconds left. Probably just going to go best player on my board right now, which it's going to be another wide receiver. And I don't know if this is going to surprise some people or not. I know a lot of people are even higher on his teammate for some reason, but I think it should be flip-flopped the other way around. That's right. I'm going Michael Floyd right there. I'm expecting a huge season out of this guy.
Yeah.
And I actually think this year with him lining up outside and Larry Fitzgerald manning the slot more and more often, I think that we're set to see Michael Floyd sort of surpass Larry Fitzgerald. And we've seen before, plenty of times around the league, good quarterbacks can sustain, not even good quarterbacks, just serviceable quarterbacks can sustain 2 top options. I mean, that's the argument for Jay Cutler, right?
Yeah.
Is that he can sustain those guys. Back in the day, you had Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. It's not a stretch to think that both of these guys could go for 8 touchdowns and 1,000 yards.
Yeah, no, and especially in an offense that throws the ball a lot, which seems like they're going to be adding in some more running elements this year, but they're still a team that airs it out as much as anyone in the league.
Absolutely. 20 seconds left. I'm on the clock. Oh, boy. This is a tough one. Man, just thinking here. I'm going to go with Rashad Jennings here, actually. Rashad Jennings, for me, is just going to be a PPR monster this season. I count on him catching a ton of passes out of the backfield. And Roto Hobo, you actually took the guy that I was thinking of taking next, Zoik Bell. It was between Bell and Rashad Jennings for me. And kudos to you for going Bell there. I definitely think that was the next choice on the board.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Joik Bell this year, and it seems like he and Reggie Bush always seem to go right near each other, and I feel like they both could have really big seasons this year with 2 different types of games there.
So just taking a look at how things have occurred so far. I saw with Fantasy Nomads draft there, A.J. Green, Eddie Lacy, 2 very solid picks. Eddie Lacy would not surprise me if he was the number 1 overall running back in fantasy at the end of the season.
Yeah.
The guy's an absolute monster. I love the Shane Vereen pick. And don't hate me, Michael. Don't hate me, Michael. I think you might have reached a little bit. I think there's a good possibility he's available for you there in the 4th round. I've seen Vereen going all the way in the 5th round. Now, I know we're drafting with some sharps right now, some sharks, and whatever you want to call them, sharps or sharks. So I know there's a good possibility, especially with Project Roto Nick's unnatural love for Shane Vereen. There's a good chance he's not there when it's your turn again if you don't take him on one of these next picks there. But I still love it. If Vereen can stay healthy, if he can avoid the porcelain tagline, I could see him having a monster year this season.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since I don't feel like Stephen Ridley is going to be much of a factor in that equation.
No, I mean, we've seen Vereen get 12, 15 catches in a single game, plus a couple carries. So he's the guy that, especially in a PPR format, just has a ton of value.
Now, Dean, very strong start with Monte Ball. Unproven, but mans that role that, lent Noshan Moreno as a number 1 overall running back last year. All right, RB1, not number 1 overall, but an RB1. And Aaron Rodgers in the 3rd round is certainly acceptable. That's a fine round to get him in. And Brandon Marshall, pretty standard, unexciting, but still sexy pick.
Yeah.
In the 2nd round.
One of the best red zone targets in the league right there. So
Napster Man has an extremely unorthodox draft running so far, but I love it. A few of these are contrarian picks, but he's getting some great values on guys that if they pan out the way we think they're going to pan out, they could end up being tremendous values. If Marshawn Lynch ends up being what he was last year, we're looking at a top 5 running back once again. Stealing him at the back of the first round is a very awesome strategy right there. Very good pick. Des Bryant, of course, an excellent wide receiver. Not a whole lot of thought. Probably went into that one. It's just best player on the board at that point. And Andre Ellington, if there's anybody outside of Giovanni Bernard that I think has a chance to finish in the top 5 of running backs in a PPR format this year, it's Andre Ellington. This guy is absolutely electric. Led the league in big plays per opportunity. Yeah. Now, not overall, but per opportunity. Per times he touched the ball, the guy walked away with a big play more often than not. And I love that start to the draft. So let's go ahead and see what our chatters have to say now that we've kind of graded out the first 3 rounds. And Friddle with the I am killing this draft. Hell yeah, you bastards. Too far. Too soon. Fantasy Nomad says that's the first time we did this draft. I thought it was just for week 1. That's why I went Megatron Stafford 1-2. So no, don't you lie. You just love the Detroit, all the Detroit special, all the Detroit special players. Project Rhoda says if you ever get 500 favorites in a day, you know Friddle just followed you. This is very true. Michael Jordan of Twittering, Matt, does that mean you're going to have to retire early due to a gambling problem?
But then you got to come back.
Yeah. Yo, how come I can't hear or see Gaby on the broadcast? Gaby, are you banned in North Carolina? Good possibility of that. All right. I need more bourbon in my life, that's for sure.
Everybody needs more bourbon.
All right. Taking a look at our drafters here. Looking for some steals, some interesting picks that could have taken place here recently. Like Emmanuel Sanders in the 6th round. If Wes Welker ends up being damaged goods for the season, that could definitely turn out very well. Need to know what you guys think. I actually I did an interview with Denny Carter for the Fantasy Sports Life podcast this afternoon, and he lobbed me up a softball accidentally. I don't think he meant to, but it lent itself to a Danny Amendola concussion joke. Is that too far?
No.
Did I go too far?
No, right, okay. Danny Amendola is made out of glass. I mean, that guy, he finds ways to hurt himself all the time.
I'll share the story here real quick. Essentially what happened was we were talking about Danny Amendola and some people that were going after him in drafts and how we couldn't believe it at all. And after that, it immediately led to a conversation where he said, after he saw who was going in front of Danny Amendola in drafts, it was causing him to, black out. And just stare at the screen and black out, and so obviously there was the connection there between and I said, oh, so you felt a lot like Danny Amendola running across the middle of the field. I don't know if that's too far or not, but I made it anyways.
Insert Sammy Watkins joke here.
Yeah, I think
now he's the latest.
I think Eric Decker is an interesting play right there in the 6th round. A lot of people are just super low on a guy who keeps finishing within the outs, right on the outer portion of the top 10 every single season. Yeah. Obviously, he doesn't have Peyton throwing to him, but he's also never been the number 1 overall target on a team that's sorely lacking other players with his ability.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets haven't even had a decent number 1 in quite some time. I mean, the last guy they had that produced in any fashion was Santonio Holmes, and now Decker stepping in. He's going to be in line for a ton of targets if Geno Smith can get the ball to him.
And Project Roto, talking about my Michael Floyd pick, says, thanks for leaving me the better Cardinals wide receiver, Gaby. Not a chance. I'll put that one on the board with you right now, sir. Let's bet some doubloons. So, Two Guys Brandon was hoping Gerhardt would drop. I do like Gerhardt a lot this year, but unfortunately, he suffers from one problem, being on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
Kind of difficult. Fantasy Nomad says Edelman a steal there. I would agree. Edelman a very strong pick in PPR formats. I don't see Danny Amendola coming in and stealing that job back at all.
No, and I mean he's like we've said it before. He's Tom Brady's safety blanket. He's the guy that he just trusts all the time. And I mean even still a pretty decent red zone target despite being undersized.
Yeah. Roto Hobo says for what it's worth, I should have gone Gronk over Cobb. Forgot to click on tight end to see who was still left. Some kind of expert this guy is.
Dennis Pitta's a guy that I've been seeing shooting up the draft boards. Everybody's been talking about him a lot recently.
And I just snagged one of my steals of the draft right there.
Yeah, number one guy.
I'm a huge, huge fan of Marcus Colston. The Brandon Cooks conjecture has reached completely. I don't even know how to say it. I can't stand how much we're talking about Brandon Cooks. People don't realize how rare it is for a rookie wide receiver to have an impact. And we've played this game before in New Orleans. Who's going to come in and be the next player for the New Orleans Saints that really, just steps in and steals the job from Marcus Colston or starts producing on a high level? It never happens.
No.
It's Colston, it's Jimmy Graham, and it was Darren Sproles, and now it's going to be Pierre Thomas.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it yet.
Yeah, if Colston stays healthy, I mean, he's an elite red zone target because he's the guy that Breeze is going to find either him or Graham in the red zone every time, and on an offense that scores just as many, if not more, points than anybody. It's incredible to get the top target there in the 7th round. Well, one of the top targets.
I'd rather have a picture of his wife's pitta. I'm not even sure what that means. Fantasy Nomad says, check my Twitter timeline. My boy Christian Ponder compared to Favre.
Oh, no.
And Fertile says, anyone see Thomas Jones? I can't seem to find him on this list. So, yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Marcus Colston this year. I feel like his ADP has gotten a little bit out of control, into the 60s and the 70s. Some drafts I don't see him going until the 8th or 9th round, even in 10-team leagues.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too much of an overreaction to last season. He's such a red zone threat, so huge.
Yeah, and like you said, it's more people being high on Cooks than down on Colston, in my opinion.
Yeah. Ray Rice, an interesting pick, kind of a steal in the 7th round actually, if he can work out.
Yeah, now Bernard Pierce, I'm not sure what his status is, but I heard he might actually end up missing a game, so there's going to be less time for him to establish himself if he's trying to steal a job from him.
And Friddle getting a little frittly over here with D-Jax at pick 6-7. Fuck all y'all. Wait, family show or nah? No, not a family show. In fact, Daily Fantasy Sports, 18 and older, so we are all good to go here. We are under the assumption that everybody here is legally old enough to vote and serve their country.
Yeah.
But not drink, by some strange twist of
that'll change eventually.
Of legal stipulation. Yeah, never quite got that one. And there's Brandon Cooks. Dean, going against my advice and taking Brandon Cooks. I have no clue what this kid is doing. Absolutely no clue.
Jeremy Maclin there, that's a steal late.
No, I don't like
I like Jeremy Maclin a lot.
My only regret, I think, at this point is that I didn't go Torrey Smith over Marcus Colston. But they both have their problems from last season. Colston was just wholly ineffective for large swaths of the season. And Torrey Smith, lots of yardage. The touchdowns just disappeared and dried up, though. So they both have the reasons why you might want to wait on them. But you know what? I'm looking at these draft boards so far, and damn, does my board look sexy.
Yeah. Oh, Dean over here says, Cooks greater than Colston, # shots fired.
No deal. I'll put that one on the board with somebody, too. Got the Michael Floyd and Larry Fitzgerald bet with my boy Project Roto here. And I'm willing to put it on the board. Colston greater than Cooks this year, too. Dean, you've been listening to too much hype, drinking a little too much Kool-Aid. You must be friends with J.D. Beckler over there. And Friddle says, oh, yeah, great call. Rookie over a perennial top 15 fantasy wide receiver. Book that shit. # vault me. What? I don't even know what the # vault me means, but I love it. That's what we need here is a little bit of trash talk. All right, I gotta go to the board and see who's available here for me. All right.
Napster Man says, why the Maclin hate, Gaby?
Because, bro, Maclin gonna Maclin, and that means that he's gonna play 6 games for you.
Yeah, I mean that's the real concern. When he's on the field, he produces.
Maclin gonna Maclin, bro.
He's way, way better than
He's
Riley
made
Cooper.
of porcelain. DFS, Dean says Colston stinks. You stink. How about that? You stink.
If I'm Colston, I'm not messing with Dean with those guns.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
I
staying
probably.
away.
Fantasy Nomad says finally got the show week. It should be showing up in the on fantasysportslive.com at if you click the FSL Live tab at the top, it should have showed up for you there. All right, I'm on the board here. I gotta Let's see. TikTok, Clarice.
No, you cannot take Colson again. Stop trying to click him.
I need a tight end, and Jason Witten just offers a lot of security. I think it's. I want to say it's since he hasn't been under 850 yards receiving since 2008-7, I believe.
And it feels like since 1997 because he's been around forever.
Yeah, at this point, I've got quite a bit of variance on my roster. It feels like Matthew Stafford could easily end up, finishing outside of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. Although he does have the weapons in the offense to put together a huge season. Rashad Jennings still hasn't proven it in a starting role, and Michael Floyd, of course. That's a call that I'm making. Shots fired, as Dean said. I'm making the call that Floyd is going to be the better wide receiver this season than Larry Fitzgerald, but a lot of risk inherent in that as well. So I like taking a couple of steady picks here towards the back of these rounds, which is another reason why I went with Marcus Colston over some of these other options that were on the board. A Golden Tate, a Ray Rice, a Deshaun Jackson, even a T.Y. Hilton. I just want my consistent guy, and I feel like you're going to get 6, 7, 8 touchdowns out of Marcus Colston and 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
You're going to get a solid season.
There's 5,000 yards to go around, you figure, with Drew Brees, so they got to go somewhere. Rotohoba says Jason Witten is fat.
Yeah, fat like P-H-A-T fat. Fool. I'm going to steal another pick from you fools here right now, too. So go ahead and watch and learn. As Gabriel Harbor, in the 9th round, selects DeAndre Hopkins. Calling it right now, second-year wide receiver, going to break out this season. Going to be a monster. Telling you right now. Who's on my side? Who's Team DeAndre? Hashtag Team Hopkins.
I'll jump on board with that.
All right, hashtag Team Hopkins. Colson will finish outside the top 20 wide receivers. Book it. No deal. Anyone can get hurt, Doe, and he spelled it like a deer.
Love it.
So, see, the link I had was different. Cards have a nice early schedule. This is true. Gaby's fault probably, as usual. I agree. Let's see. Fertile says, what do you think of where I got Welker over T. Will and Randall? Well, I think it's fine since Randall came back to you. And in fact, Fertile, it's interesting you mentioned that, buddy, because I was actually thinking of going Randall, but I eventually decided Hopkins instead. I feel like the issues with Ruben Randall's hands, the equal uncertainty with Eli Manning slinging the ball back there, and the fact that I don't expect Randall to catch a ton of passes. If this was standard scoring, I think I would go Randall over DeAndre Hopkins there with my pick. But as it is, I'm willing to gamble that DeAndre Hopkins can have that breakout year. But Ruben Randall, the only red zone threat that the Giants have. I've not seen a tight end situation in worse disarray to start a season than the New York Giants. I mean, it's phenomenally awful. And the only guy they have that has a semblance of size in the end zone or near the end zone is Ruben Randall.
Yeah, and coming off a season where Eli Manning really struggled, that's even more bad news for him.
Yeah. MJD took himself first overall again. This is true. In the Sirius XM draft, I believe he took himself first overall.
Man, there might not be a guy who loves himself more. Like that's beyond far-fetched.
Hashtag witness fat. So, damn Niles Olsen for the win. Yeah, I like that pick right there. That's a good one. Team DeAndre, but is not a steal in the 9th round. I disagree. You and I have a fundamentally different viewpoint on what a steal. Okay, just leave me alone. I'm trying to talk and draft at the same time here.
Let's see. Ertz. Yeah?
Ertz, don't it?
You got to get that as your name instead of the Johnny Manziel's.
No.
Since he's not going to play.
Manziel's is the best team name that exists. Gotta respect Johnny Manziel's selfie game.
Yeah, Brady right there. If Brady has himself a Tom Brady or even close to it, 10th round's a steal there.
God, I hate Nick. I hate Project Roto. Especially in a Tim team league. About the Scott, can I ban him? Scott!
Just as Snipe gave you waiting on his lover boy.
Alright, suppose I should take a look and see who else is available here. Reggie Wayne, I think, is a good value there as well, you know.
Yeah. He's a guy that should be the top option there. So you get a top option on the offense where Andrew Luck has been throwing the ball more and more. You got to like those chances there.
Definitely. Definitely. Maybe I'll go Stephen Hill and pour a sip of moonshine on the concrete for Davis Maddock.
Classy.
That's what I'm all about here. Maintaining class. Yeah, I love Randall this year as well, Fredo. Absolutely love him. See anything here playing out strange? I think Jordan Reed is due for a huge monster year this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely some more yardage to go around with Deshaun Jackson. Or I'm seeing that backwards. With Deshaun Jackson in town, they're going to be throwing the ball even more.
Right.
Seeing Darren Sproles, if for some reason something happened to LaShawn McCoy, he could be in line to be a top 10 guy in PPR quickly. I don't know if he'll get quite that volume, but in that offense, he should get plenty of targets either way.
Yeah, I think so for sure. RotoHobo says Wayne good value in old man leagues. Oh wow, the 30+ league at the YMCA. I like Cam Newton a lot there in the 10th round. I think that's a fine pick.
Yeah, I saw some people worried about his minor injury. I don't think that's too much of a concern.
Yeah, they'll throw a flak jacket on him and he'll be fine.
Give him the Andrew McCutcheon.
Yeah, throw a flak jacket on him, he'll be good. Jordan Matthews and Steven Jackson, two fine players to be drafted right there. Steven Jackson, of course, always a walking injury concern, and you have to wonder how long it's going to be before he decides to hang it up.
Yeah, he's I saw a crazy stat that last year he caught his first touchdown pass of his career, which is crazy to me. All the goal line work he gets, he had not caught a touchdown before.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. I'll have to double check on that, but I did hear that.
And yeah, I just missed my pick with the Travis Coons pick there. At least I got my kicker covered. So all clear on that. Don't have to worry about kicker for the rest of the draft. In fact, some could say that's a relief. You know, I know sweating which kicker you're going to end up with is always an issue for many people. So
the last thing you want to do is be without a kicker.
Yep. I see Friddle taking a subtle jab at the rest of the room, saying the way this draft is shaping up, my QB1 might be Geno Smith. Just pointing at how much value is left in the draft that he's going to have to soak up here. Cam Newton will not be top 10, says Fantasy Nomad.
Bold.
Very bold. All right, I'm on.
That's all he's been doing is just getting into that top 5.
I'm on the clock, and I think it not expedient to draft a kicker again this time.
Probably not.
Or an auto pick. So I'm gonna go. Who am I gonna go with? I like Cecil Shorts there.
I mean, he's the number 1 now that Justin Blackman can't put the bottle down. So I think Shorts is in line for a pretty good year.
Roto Hobo with the language getting me there. Says I'm high. I don't appreciate that.
I can assure you he's not. Maybe he was earlier.
Who needs ribs? The blank do they even do like a spleen right? They taste delicious out of a smoker. This was the string of comments. It seems like Reddit /r/football going on right now. So his points per game have dropped a bunch each of the last 3 years. Yeah. We're talking about Travis Coons, right?
Yeah, of course. There's Dwayne Bowe. Dwayne Bowe could end up being a really nice pick there. the number one option there in Kansas City.
Dwayne Bowe, not a bad flyer at all there. Colin Kaepernick, obviously, I believe once Michael Crabtree was back in the lineup last season, Colin Kaepernick was a top 5 quarterback in those games where Michael Crabtree was back on the field.
Yeah, as long as he wasn't playing the Seahawks.
Wide receivers better than last year, in my opinion. At worst, not much worse. Is Vernon Davis hurt? Says Project Roto. No, but he's in a little bit of a tiff with the organization, and they continue to like him much better staying at home blocking than they do going out for receptions.
Yeah, he's spending too much time on the league.
All right. Ridley, yeah, he says. I like Ridley because I think there's a possibility he gets cut and ends up somewhere. And how interesting would it be if he ended up in Indianapolis?
Yeah, or Baltimore.
Yeah.
If Pierce can't stay healthy and Rice doesn't get it done, I could see him fitting in Baltimore and just jumping right in.
Yeah, no, for sure. That could easily be...
That could be really interesting because he could definitely be the guy because other coaches are going to give him probably a little bit more of a leash than Belichick always has.
Ingram, another player that I strongly considered there. I think Ingram is going to have himself a nice season as well.
Yeah, like we said, plenty to go around there.
Carolina running backs? Bleh. Yeah.
It's hard
Just
to say.
not a big fan of those kinds of players.
Yeah. I've always thought that D'Angelo Williams should still be getting the lion's share of the carries there, so maybe this will be the year that they stop toying with everyone and actually give D'Angelo Williams his fair shot.
I think he's got more than a fair shot over the course of his career, though.
True, but I still think he's significantly better than Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah. I would agree with that as well. Noshawn Moreno is interesting. He's starting to creep up the board there in Miami. You see that Lamar Miller just continues to be ineffective. Not saying Noshawn Moreno is great on his own right outside of that offense, but I could easily see him coming up and doing some damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lance Dunbar, a good high upside pick there in the 12th round. A guy that could factor a lot in the Cowboys offense this season, especially with DeMarco Murray's health concerns. I don't think Dunbar would be the clear-cut backup to take all of the heavy work. If Murray were to go down, he would certainly get a little bit of an increase. I just think he's going to have value all season long.
Yeah, because, you figure that offense is going to rely on DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant a lot. So Dunbar's going to have to be a change of pace back.
Jay Stewart better than D'Angelo Williams, just gets hurt. I don't even know if I agree with that, to be honest, but I certainly think it's close enough. I don't think it's a wide gap between any of those players. So, B-Chad upset, our very own Josh Shepardson, upset that Friddle took the Jeremy Hill pick there. He wanted to go with that. You're a Cincinnati homer. Tell me what you think about Jeremy Hill this season.
I think that he is going to do this year what Ben Jarvis Cornelis was supposed to be doing, and that's getting a lot of carries. And, Giovanni Bernard's going to take, obviously, most of the catches out of the backfield, but I don't think that's going to take away from a number one back because Green Ellis really held that team back by not being able to be reliable out of the backfield. So Jeremy Hill could be that 25 carry guy.
All right, I'm on the board here, so I suppose I should probably pick somebody. What are you thinking here?
Oh, man. Could be the first one to spring for a defense.
Nah, bro.
Too soon.
I'm going to go Kyrie Robinson here. I'll be interested to see what Friddle thinks of that pick. I know I've heard him talking about him before. I'm just looking for some upside guys at this point, and I already know what a lot of these running backs are. I wanted to get a little running back depth in that round. And Project Rhoda says, all right, got the 6th pick in a mock I'm doing with Gallagher and some of those guys. We'll just pray that Demarius is there.
Yeah.
So if Demarius is there, you win, right? Napsterman, yes, 20 total picks. So, and Fantasy Nomad, I just try not to put too much stock into preseason schedules. Defenses are such evolutionary units. They reinvent themselves year after year, season after season. I just try not to put too much stock into that.
Yeah. There's a guy, Brian Hartline, that win. I know you're not a fan, but I like him as a volume guy. Not a guy that's going to get a lot of touchdowns, but he eats up lots of catches and yards.
All right, so I'm looking at some of these running back options here. I think that's where I might go. Ugh, nothing looks good whatsoever. I'm going with Marcus Wheaton. Kind of like him this season. I think he could come in and fill a nice role. I think there's going to be a lot of role open, to be honest, out there in Pittsburgh. So kind of like Marcus Wheaton here.
Especially with Heath Miller at his age having some injury concerns. If he goes down, someone's going to be getting those catches and those targets. So it just remains to be seen if he can step in and be successful there. But someone's got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's an NBA draft. Is there any chance Anthony Davis falls that far now? Probably not. To the 6th pick.
I doubt it. I really doubt
Maybe
it.
Kevin Love is there in the 6th pick, in which case I like him a lot.
Yeah, could be.
Sammy Watkins off the board despite the injury concern that we just witnessed.
I mean, if he's healthy, though, he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
It could just have been a precautionary thing, the player that the Browns should have drafted that is now going to be the number 1 in Buffalo. So he definitely has huge upside. I mean, watching him, especially in that Orange Bowl against at least a decent defense, I mean, he just dominated. He did it all.
Friddle is so drunge right now. Go home, you're drunge. First off the board with the defense, they're taking the Seattle Seahawks defense in the 13th round. Roto Hobo with the nap, what should I eat? I feel like you would have the best recommendation at this point in the evening.
Whatever's easy. That's what you got to eat right now.
Pizza. The answer is always pizza.
Yeah, the answer is whatever you don't have to get up to get.
Hawkins Mega Steal, says Napster Man.
Yeah, could be. I mean, who's going to catch the ball? Not Miles Hamstring, as you so aptly
that
called him.
That was such an accident, but yeah, Miles Hamstring. Absolutely. Let's see. I'm just trying to plan out my next pick. We're getting into the dog days of these picks now, where it's increasingly difficult to find the exact player that you like. Let's see.
Charles Clay, guy that got he was a DFS darling last year with some nice games and some red zone targets.
Yeah, for sure. I got my next pick queued up if he's not off the board. I know who I'm taking.
I hope somebody takes him.
Yeah, I know. Getting nachos, pizza, sushi. Got a lot of recommendations here for what should be going on for
Looks
dinner.
like sushi wins.
What about Marcus Lee? I'm just not a big fan of rookie wide receivers in general. They just don't do enough.
I think it also depends on if it's going to be Bortles or Henne. I don't know if that's been decided yet. Have you seen anything official on that?
I haven't seen anything official, and I'm guessing you lean towards Bortles.
It should be Bortles. He was my favorite quarterback out of the draft.
Kind of
you disagree.
What you want to go with the devil you don't know instead of the devil you do know. And we all know what Chad Henne is at this point.
Yep. I mean, he did decent stepping in last year, but he also had Justin Blackmon.
And Dean says, was sitting on Clay, Napster Man, caused me to bitterly snipe your handcuff. So I'm
loving the hate.
I was going to say, I love the bitterly snipe. That's a wonderful terminology. Absolutely love that. Heath Miller rounding out the back here. We're all waiting with bated breath to see what self-proclaimed Emperor Friddle does with his pick here. Robert Griffin III in the 14th round. OMFG.
Here it comes.
Here you go.
Steal.
Here it comes. Steal. Hold on. Let's go ahead and preempt him. So there we go. That's I just wanted to make sure
A
he
little bit of
knows.
trolling.
But no, I just want to make sure he knows how strongly I felt about that. Best pick ever. So.
That's a pretty damn good pick that late too. I mean, if he can stay healthy, for
No,
sure.
it obviously is. It obviously is. So. Tavon Austin, a good best ball player. He's going to have a couple of weeks where he goes off completely, but you never want to have to be deciding whether or not you're putting him in your starting lineup. James Starks should have been the handcuff to somebody that has Eddie Lacy, in my opinion. Just valuable handcuff, especially in that offense.
Oh, yeah.
He's proven before that he can carry the load.
Yeah, I mean, he's even done in the playoffs. So Starks is definitely a guy, one of the better handcuffs, I think, because he's actually proven.
Yeah, coming up on me here soon. So I'm going to go with this next pick. I'm going to close my eyes and pray that he doesn't get taken this next pick. Then I'm going to subsequently get laughed at by the rest of the draft room.
I haven't looked at your screen yet, but I am over here praying that he gets snaked because I want to hear your reaction.
Snaped? Like Severus snaped?
No, snaked, like stolen.
Oh,
like
okay,
robbed.
gotcha.
It probably was not Zach Hawker.
Boom.
Danny Amendola. Mr. Glass.
I'll take him in the 14th round and hope he can stay healthy. If nothing else, he should give me 3 or 4 best ball weeks with like 10 catches for 135 yards.
A little shovel pass for a touchdown.
Yeah. I'm hoping. And a Fantasy Nomad says, blah on Starks. You blah on you, sir. Blah on yourself. Let's see. Jared Boykin, another pick that I was considering right there.
I was seeing on Twitter they said that
He is
he's
the third option.
Yeah, so you know Aaron Rodgers likes to spread it around, so you can expect him, especially in the best ball format, to have himself a couple really nice years.
Now I'm on the board here. I'm up next. Trying to figure out who I'm going to pick here. Do we know that it's not Sean Green's starting job yet?
I haven't heard.
I'm just going to take Sean Green. I actually think there's a case to be made for him at this point.
Yeah, I don't think he's bad. I mean, Bishop Sankey obviously could still be some of an overreaction for the rookie coming in, but I think he's more talented. It's just, I mean, obviously he hasn't done it yet. So Sean Green, definitely somebody who could step in.
Yeah, I think so as well. Let's see. Who did Ryan just take? Zach Hawker, obviously.
I'm not too apt on kickers here, so I'm not sure who Zach Hawker is. I'm guessing he's starting.
You don't know about all the kickers?
No.
All right.
Not yet.
Fair enough. Kenny Britt, a high upside pick in the 15th round, all the talent in the world. And what do you think is going to happen with the quarterback situation in St. Louis this year? Do you think it's actually going to be better than it was with Sam Bradford at the helm?
Sean Hill has stepped in before and gotten it done, so I'm not going to say that Sean Hill's going to have a monster year like I've seen some people predicting, but I think he's going to be good. He's about as good of a backup quarterback as there is in the NFL, so I think he'll have a pretty good year.
And Ryan Tannehill, not a bad backup quarterback there.
No, he's got some weapons. And he's going to be throwing the ball because, let's face it, they don't have a very reliable running game at all.
No, absolutely not. That's not in their wheelhouse, as you like to say. Let's see, who does Freddle take here? I want Dalton, but had to refresh while OTC. Ooh, Chandler Catanzaro.
Man, I'm loving these new names, at least for these kickers.
I know, these are
They're all great.
I'm not... How do kickers get such great names? Zach Hawker? Cairo Santos?
These guys were born to be kickers.
Chandler Catanzaro? Friddle, that is not a value pick in the 15th round with Chandler Catanzaro.
No such thing as a kicker value.
Who did I just take, he asks. I have no idea, but you're stuck with them! At least for this mock draft, that's who you're going with. Seriously, he just beat out Jay Feely.
Yep.
Are you looking that up?
No, I saw that. on Twitter.
Did you?
Today or yesterday. That just happened.
Very cool. And there goes Andy Dalton next, just to spite Friddle. I love it. The Ginger Ninja, not in your lineups there. Tim Wright, perhaps an overreaction to the news we heard today about Tim Wright being acquired by the Patriots, but
and getting Aaron Hernandez's number.
What, like, is he going to call him and counsel him?
No, not his phone number.
Oh,
not
okay.
his direct line to the jail, but his jersey number. Maybe he got both. Who knows?
And Dean with the Zoltan Mesko. So, is that an actual kicker name?
That's the punter from New England.
Really?
Yeah.
Zoltan Mesko. Nice.
Like, dude, where's my car? The Zoltan.
Is that possibly Arizona's kicker? Okay. Oh, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Alex Smith, not a bad pickup in the 16th round as a backup quarterback. You don't mind that at all?
No, he's a guy that he's solid. He won't ever beat you. And then he throws in a couple 4-touchdown games every once in a while when he throws screen passes to Jamal Charles and he takes him to the house.
Yep. I like Travis Kelce a lot this year, too, as a tight end option. So he went in the 12th round. Should help Alex Smith to have a reliable safety valve this season, which I think Kelce will be kind of uncontested as far as as far as tight ends are concerned, running out of the slot.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that Kansas City really hasn't had recently is a reliable guy. I mean they had Tony Moyaki who did all right for a little while but had injury concerns. So I mean really since Gonzalez has been out of town, they haven't had a guy they can rely on.
Hashtag fate, says Friddle. He's got Ben Roethlisberger right there. Ben Roethlisberger, if you remember, just to stir the ire of the fantasy football community, was suspended longer for his shenanigans than Ray Rice was.
Yeah.
So.
And his wasn't on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it happened or not, it's all opinion, but.
Geno Smith will outscore Fantasy Nomad, is what I'm saying.
Oh, he will outscore his whole team by himself.
I do like Geno Smith this season. I'm hoping he's going to be available here for me on the go back around. He's a player I want to take.
Yeah, definitely a high upside guy there. And now that he finally has a reliable option in Eric Decker, he should be doing much better. And Chris Johnson, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. So I'm on the clock next. And there we go. He is mine. Like I said I was going to do it. I got to follow through with my word. Geno Smith on my line, on my roster.
Carson Palmer could be a nice pick up there in the 16th.
Yeah, for sure.
Tons of options for him, so he's going to put up some big numbers. It just remains to be seen whether he's going to throw 3 interceptions every week or not.
It's back on me now. I think I'm going to go with a defense now. I hear you need one of those.
You're going to need one eventually.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Bills. I like the Bills' chances this season. So on the go back around, on the go back around, I need to pick up another defense and another kicker and take another flyer here.
Yeah.
What's wrong? No, you have, but in best ball you want to have one of each, 2 of each.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I could see in a standard format you definitely wouldn't want to do that, but
no, I'm a stream guy.
Kenny Stills could be a steal in the 16th round.
He could be a steal.
A steal. Oh, I see what you did there. A steal. Kenny Stills could be a steal in the 16th round. Whatever we think Brandon Cooks might be, Kenny Stills could just be the one who ends up getting some of that production anyways.
And he's the guy who's actually done it before.
Right.
So he's already got a little bit of rapport there with Drew Brees.
D is good. Geno will run more, and Decker helps. Still think he is 1 year and 1 wide receiver away. Yeah, I like Jason Morrow a lot too. That's a tight end that's going largely unheralded. And somebody had to do it and draft Johnny Manziel. Thank you. I appreciate that. You can't let Johnny Manziel, Johnny effing football, can't go undrafted.
Didn't he go 19th round last week? 19th or 20th?
Yeah,
right?
I went 19th.
Oh, and you were furious.
I was. Respect Johnny effing football. That's all I want people to do. Cody Latimer could be a steal as well. Jacquizz Rodgers, nice pick there. 2 guys with a lot of upside if the injury situations, fall the wrong way for their team. They could find themselves looking at starting jobs very quickly.
Yeah, and Rodgers is a guy that gets a little bit of action even without an injury because, Steven Jackson's no longer the 30-carry durable back that he once was. So Rodgers will get some work on some third downs.
And Fantasy Nomad says, riddle me this, and I call it the Andy Dalton effect. If a team's wide receivers are expected to be good or great and break out, then why are their QBs not bumped up? And look, I agree with you. A lot of people try their best to keep these. You can't keep a good quarterback down. And we certainly downgrade quarterbacks like we did Tom Brady last season when we thought he was going to have no weapons available, unlike Aaron Hernandez, who had plenty of weapons available. I digress. Possibly too far there.
No, never too far.
Never too far. Yeah, I think you definitely give him a little bit of an upgrade. Geno Smith has looked damn good in the preseason. Now, before you say anything about the preseason meaning nothing, I agree with you. It means next to nothing. But still, it does mean something to go out there and have yourself. I think having a bad preseason means nothing. I think if you go out and have look good, though, you can legitimately argue that is a little something.
Yeah, that's fair. But, that's a good point. But guys like Andy Dalton, as you see, he's going the lowest for someone who has a ton of weapons. And Marvin Jones with a little bit is obviously a loss, but he's not out for the season. So he still has young talent. It's really on him whether he produces because he has no excuse.
Fantasy Nomad says this year it's Carson Palmer and Jake Locker. I like Jake Locker a lot if he can ever get his accuracy down. Kendall Wright, Justin Hunter, Delaney Walker. That's not a bad little combination of talent around him.
Yeah. Jake Locker looks too much like Tim Tebow when he's running around trying to throw the ball, and that's what scares me about him as an actual quarterback.
Eli Manning off the board in the 18th round. I think Eli Manning is done. I don't think he has another huge season left in him. I think he's done.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He was. It wasn't even that he struggled last year. He was just bad. He made bad decisions, bad reads. So, I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell with that.
Who the F is Boswell? Duh. Everyone knows who Boswell is.
I really do need to look up on my kickers because that was another guy that I didn't know was a starter.
Yeah, I know. Are you feeling a little caught off guard here by the kickers?
Oh, yeah. Way off guard by the kickers. That's usually one of the last things I'm looking into. But definitely some young guys here.
I would love to get a short little clip of you just saying that so I could play it over and over again.
See what we can do.
I'm looking at tight end here since I'm about to be picking here in just a moment. I'd like to back up my tight end. Yeah, that'd be an interesting way of saying you want to shake your ass. I'd like to back up my tight end.
That should be a mystical song.
Yeah, I should just
the remix.
Should just go ahead and say that. I don't know. Back up my tight end all over you, baby. Does that work?
That'll work.
All right.
Boswell, big leg.
I think I've got my my tight end back up in mind here. Somebody I liked a lot last season until he got injured. And despite the fact that his peer, who is fighting him for time, being best friends with the quarterback, going back to college, I still think he's just a better talent.
I'm guessing this has something to do with the Colts.
Ah, perceptive you are. Kobe Fleener and remember that was the big storyline? Well, they were friends in college, so.
Well, they hung out. They went to frat parties together.
Yeah. Beachhead 50 says shit's getting real weird. Listen, this
not for me.
This is fantasy football drafting after dark. So, check your inhibitions at the door and possibly your pants because we're going to have a good time and nobody's going to stop us. Miley style. Can't stop, won't stop.
I'm not familiar with that song. Will you sing it for me?
I see what you're trying to do there. So I got my pick in Dwayne Allen. Now the next two are going to be fairly rudimentary. I just need to pick up another defense and another kicker here, and my draft will be rounded out. So on the board here, looking at defenses, I won't lie, don't know a whole lot about who to choose, but I think the New England Patriots are always a good bet to force turnovers. So I'm just going to go with them right there.
Yeah, that's a solid play there, especially this late. I do like James White there. As we were talking about Stephen Ridley earlier, if something does happen and he pisses off Belichick one last time and gets cut, White could see a real big uptick in production here.
Imagine my stable of tight ends with Ertz, Kelsey, Miller, and Allen in best ball. Yeah, no, that's quite the formidable pack. Quite the formidable pack. These are kind of the uninteresting picks where it's just defenses and kickers mainly coming off the board. Doug Baldwin could be a 19th round steal there in best ball. Yeah. He's going to have a couple really long touchdowns. He just is. That's what he does. You know, you look at your box score, you see he caught one pass, you start to get disappointed, then your eyes scroll over and see it was for 55 yards and a touchdown. You're like, thank God he saved the day.
Yep. Yeah, and Russell Wilson seemed like he likes him a lot, so he could see a lot more production this year with.
Well, I heard they were best friends in high school.
Yeah, I heard they hung out.
That's why
they both dated the same girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why they get along so well and on the field. It's they used to date.
That's a perfect scenario.
Anquan Boldin, not bad as a 19th round pick. And Fritto with the caps lock. F you, Nick. I wanted Baldwin, you mother effer bastard. So I'm not as in love with Kelsey as most, says Two Guys Brandon. Well, let me tell you what. You need to appreciate Kelsey. She's the kind of girl who would do anything for you, and frankly, you don't deserve her. Donald Brown, he's only the handcuff to 2 running backs on a team that wants to run the ball a ton. I love Donald Brown, actually, this year.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't know who is going to get everything past Matthews, and Matthews, as we know, not at all durable and reliable.
No, not at all. Phil Dawson, your boy. Is he really your boy?
No.
Okay.
I got nothing against him. He won me one of my leagues last year, so I guess he could be my boy.
Fair enough. Got one Niner, Woot, hashtag Homer. There we go. That's the spirit, Nap. Love it. And best ball wouldn't make it since...
Wouldn't it make sense to draft 3Ds? Yeah?
Yeah, probably.
I don't see why not. You feel like, especially with teams like the Chiefs last year, they weren't a great defense, but they scored a lot of touchdowns. So you have a couple of teams that end up doing something like that. That could be huge.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And looking at the last picks here, I've got my kicker already. You know who I'm going with?
Your other kicker?
Yeah.
Mike Nugent.
No. This is going to be a surprising pick. I think I'm going to blow the socks off of people with my kicker pick here.
I'm guessing that I will be surprised. Hopefully he has a really cool name. You got to get a kicker with a cool name.
Does anyone like Hakeem Nicks? He's a guy. Yeah.
He has huge hands.
He's a guy I have no clue what to do with. You know, just be his friend.
Yeah, start slow.
Yeah.
Get to know him a little bit.
Buy a drink, see where it leads. So, Texans D, a steal lock. A steal. Look at their first 3 games. Has anyone ever heard of a comma? Makes it really hard to read all of your comments in chat. Use commas, for God's sakes, please. And Josh getting bold and says Gaby is selecting Matt Prater. Not if you vulture him first, you asshole. Thanks for telling everybody.
Hey, that's Jesus' favorite player.
Nix will be a nice role player if his ADP fell another couple of rounds. I'd be a buyer. And DFS Almanac says, hey, Napster man, Gore, Crabtree, and Hyde are on the block. Like Jenny on the block? Like Jenny on the block?
Already some instant regret here.
Used to have a little, but now I have a lot. I'm still 49ers on the block. Yeah, I'm going with Prater because I feel like in a high-scoring offense, I'll just play it out with my other kicker for the first 4 weeks. And it's obviously Prater's job once he comes back.
Yeah, and, I mean, they're going to get a ton of opportunities. He's going to score a lot of points.
So I'll go with Prater there. Fantasy Nomad says, Gaby ever heard of Hooked on Phonics? Heard of it? Yeah, but I can't spell it.
We live that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of our final live mock draft before the fantasy football season. Please head over to DraftDay.com and enter some Week 1 football contests. They're up and they're ready, Justin, and man, do they look wonderful.
Yes, beautiful. They do. I can't wait.
I'm Crazy Gaby. He is Big Italy 42, and we're going to bed. Good night.